on the heels of the Delhi Service Bill, the union government has come up with another bill to negate the import of a Supreme Court judgment. In the revised list of business that was put out for Thursday, a bill in the name of Arjun Ram Meghwal, the law minister, was listed. This one is to regulate the appointment, conditions of service and terms of office of the Chief Election Commissioner and the election commissioners. Now, what exactly is this bill proposing? The Supreme Court, if you recall, had said that the selection of the Chief Election Commissioner should be by a panel which has the Prime Minister, the Leader of Opposition and the Chief Justice of India. This bill, which is being proposed by the government, seeks to replace the Chief Justice of India with a Cabinet Minister. I'm just reading out from the bill and it says that, the Cabinet Secretary and two officers of the secretary rank will get together to select a panel of 5 people. These panel of 5 people will have knowledge and experience of matter related to election, and after that this would be sent to a selection committee chaired by the Prime Minister and includes the Leader of Opposition and Leader of the single largest party leader in Lok Sabha and a Union Cabinet Minister nominated by the Prime Minister. So essentially the PM, one Cabinet Minister nominated by the PM and the Leader of Opposition or the Leader of the single largest party will be the 3-member committee which will consider the 5 people panel that the Cabinet Secretary and the 2 secretaries will finalize. Why is this problematic? What is the opposition saying? The opposition is saying is that the Cabinet Minister and the Prime Minister together will always overrule the Leader of Opposition. So essentially the Chief Election Commissioner will be a government nominee. What was the Supreme Court's intention when it gave this order? The Supreme Court's intention was to keep the position of Chief Election Commissioner, independent, so to say. The Supreme Court had, said that there should be a committee which has the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice of India and the Leader of Opposition, similar to the appointment process that is followed for the CBI director. What was argued was that just like the CBI director needs to be independent, the election commissioner needs to be independent as well. If you saw the back and forth that has happened between the government and the opposition, they have accused the election commission of losing its independence or succumbing to the government pressure on various issues, be it the timing of elections, be it looking at issues raised about model code of conduct, even about Prime Minister's rally. There were questions raised about the Prime Minister wearing the lotus ahead of polling, or him addressing an election rally or some rally while voting was on. All of this have been looked, the election commissioners have looked away is what the opposition had alleged, and therefore they had knocked at the doors of the Supreme Court saying much more has to be done to make the election commissioner's office independent. The Supreme Court had agreed and said let's have a 3-member panel, but the Supreme Court had also said that this arrangement will be interim till the time the government comes up with a law. So the government's defense is that we are only following what the Supreme Court said. The court had given us the leeway to come up with a law, and we are coming up with a law. That bill will be tabled. The last 2 days to go for the monsoon session to get over. Will the government push through these 2 bills? No confidence motion is being discussed in Lok Sabha, but in Rajya Sabha there is still time, and the opposition is not really letting much work happen. They are either walking out or resorting to sloganeering. So if they walk out in Rajya Sabha, it will be easier for the government to get this bill passed. In Lok Sabha also the numbers are in their favour. So once the no confidence motion is taken care of, then this bill could be passed in this session itself. Who are the people who are objecting? Congress, TMC, the other members of the India Front, they've all come on record to say that this is just not acceptable. Manikam Tagore, Sushmita Deb and also Jawahar Sarkar are some of the leaders who have come up and really given their viewpoint, all of them making the same point that if you replace the Chief Justice of India with the Cabinet Minister, essentially you are compromising on the independence of the Election Commissioner. Questions will also be raised that if the Election Commissioner owes his or her tenure, terms of service and appointment to the government, can they really be independent? Can the process of conducting elections then be independent? That's the question that has been asked by all these 3 opposition leaders who have spoken out. The other opposition leaders are also speaking on this matter. Just as an aside, if you recall, the Supreme Court had in fact dismissed a plea challenging the appointment of Election Commissioner Arun Goel. He was appointed as EC on November 19, 2022, and his appointment was challenged. So even though Supreme Court has set up a committee to look into the future appointments of election commissioners and chief election commissioner, it has not really interfered with the appointments as they are continuing at this moment. The government, like I said, for the Delhi Service Bill also they said the same, that we have been given the option in the Supreme Court judgment itself that come up with a law, and that's exactly what we are doing. So how are we violating the Supreme Court order? Why are we being accused of being inimical to what the Supreme Court proposed? That's the standpoint of the government. But the opposition and the critics are up in arms, saying this is one more institution that you're completely compromising. It is supposed to be an independent institution, but by making this the way of appointment, you're completely compromising it. So the question now, two big questions. A, will this bill get passed in this session itself? How will the opposition react? The parties like BJD and YSRCP, who have saved the government on various occasions, be it the Delhi Service Bill, be it the no confidence motion, these parties claim they are neither aligned with the ruling side nor aligned with the opposition side, yet they have voted in favor of the government and they have saved government on crucial occasions. So will that happen for this particular bill as well? The second question, if this bill becomes an act, will the opposition knock at the doors of the Supreme Court yet again, questioning the validity of the law? So those are two big questions, even as government gets ready to bring in this bill so that cabinet minister appointed by the Prime Minister replaces the Chief Justice in the 3-member panel, which is to select the Chief Election Commissioner.